The consciousness in the cosmos, a path to one's own inner cosmos.
In assistance of the more profound understanding of the current planetary transition.
A stimuli that accompanies the pilgrim
in his return to his cosmic home.
The Consciousness and the Cosmos, a radio program of UPSIM, Planetary Service Center.
Hello dear listeners, my name is Ara Winak, and together with Katya and Jess we will be hosting the program. We will hear Daniel Gagliardo explaining about the new humanity that will take place in our planet after the transcendence of the law of karma and the entering of the new cycle under the Higher Evolutionary Law.
What is the characteristic of the Higher Evolutionary Law?
La ley evolutiva superior tiene como características que ya no es un campo de prueba, como la ley de karma. La ley de karma ofrece la evolución.
So the big difference is that the higher evolutionary law has no tests. It doesn't give us tests, but it offers us the attunement, the synchronization of cycles and stages.
The Higher Evolutionary Law no longer operates as test and trials field like the law of karma. The law of karma offers evolution on the basis of tests, and individuals have to learn to overcome those tests. They have to learn to choose. That is why they are offered free will and the power to choose under the law of karma. The Higher Evolutionary Law does not have that characteristic. What it offers stages of energy, and beings have to learn to attune to those cycles, to obey them, and thus to receive greater and greater stimuli.
The higher evolutionary law has 3 stages. First, a stimulus arrives in the individual's consciousness. That is the first stage. The second stage is that he can deepen the stimulus. And the third stage is that he obeys and applies the stimulus. These 3 cycles occur continuously, and that's why the higher evolutionary law is also called the law of cycles.
Do these 3 stages of the High Evolutionary Law mean that the monada, or the spirit, materialize?
La monada no puede materializarse por incompatibilidad vibratoria. La monada siempre permanece en el nivel monádico cósmico.
Daniel says, no, the monada cannot materialize due to vibrational incompatibility. The monada always remains on the cosmic monadic level. Under the higher evolutionary law, there is also ego and personality. Only the ego and personality are not under the law of karma. They are under the higher evolutionary law. So what the monada does is to supply the ego and the personality with stimuli. The monada picks up those stimuli and provides them for the ego and the personality. The ego and the personality attune to them, deepen and apply them. That's the work.
Every stimulus enters the monada, and the monada passes it on to the ego and personality. So it goes on, and each new stimulus is higher than the previous one. And so the evolutionary process is fulfilled.
otra de las características importantes que la humanidad va a poder vivir bajo ley evolutiva superior.
Another essential characteristic that humanity will be able to live under the higher evolutionary law is to work consciously and in conjunction with the hierarchy, both extraterrestrially and intraterrestrially. Humanity today lives apart from the hierarchy because it is so identified with the world of matter. But humanity on the surface of the earth under the higher evolutionary law will work consciously with the hierarchy. Another big difference is that our humanity currently has a primitive genetic code and has a very low evolutionary coefficient. Our evolutionary coefficient is approximately 8 out of 100 in cosmic terms, and we have a genetic code that is also primitive. Whereas humanity under higher evolutionary law will have a higher genetic code. It will have a higher evolutionary coefficient of 69 out of 100, and it will have a condition that we don't have today, which is called the condition of harmlessness. Our humanity is offensive, continuously hurts, mistreats, and generates war and friction. The humanity of the future will have this condition of inoffensiveness because its genetic code will not allow frictive fire.
What does 69 out of 100 mean?
All humanities have an evolutionary coefficient. Our present humanity is also very primitive. Its evolutionary quotient is very low. In reality, what the evolutionary quotient represents is the capacity to release light, the inner light that an individual has, that humanity has. Our humanity can only release approximately 8% of its light, whereas in the future we will release 69% of our light vibrational pattern. Extraterrestrial humanities released 100% of their light, and intra-earthly humanities release 80% of their light. In other words, what the evolutionary quotient is talking about is the ability to release the light pattern of the essence that is in us.
Is the coefficient of 6 out of 100 characteristic of other karmic humanities, or is it only here on Earth because of such a great deviation?
Mientras que en el futuro vamos a liberar el 69% de nuestro patrón vibratorio luz.
Daniel says, all karmic humanities are in different processes. No karmic humanity is in the same condition as any other humanity, so the evolutionary quotient is different for all. The capacity or the karmic opportunity to release light is different for all karmic humanities.
What will happen to the 3 kingdoms in the new cycle? Are they part of the humanity?
Humanity on the surface of the earth will transcend the law of karma. The surface of the earth will also transcend the law of karma. So technically, here on the surface, there would be no animals, there would be no vegetables, there would be no minerals. Why? Because minerals, vegetables, and animals still have to pass through evolutionary cycles in the law of karma to reach the human kingdom. No animals, minerals or vegetables can pass directly into the higher evolutionary law. Still, the cosmic laws resolve that question in the following way. There are laws which are called interface laws, where animals, plants and minerals can be placed in large energy fields that can be made present on the surface of the earth, so that they can maintain contact with future humanity without being directly exposed to the law of the higher evolutionary law, but still be present. The cosmic laws must then select animals, plants and minerals to manifest the highest qualities of each of these kingdoms. It's important to note that not every animal, vegetable or mineral can be included in an interface field. Only those that have shown higher aspects within their retrospective kingdom can be included. This creates a connection between humanity under higher evolutionary law and the higher beings of the animal, vegetable and mineral kingdoms within the context of that humanity in those interface fields.
Those plants, animals, and minerals that go through this process of evolutionary assistance, when they continue their evolutionary trajectory with superior qualities that allow them to stimulate other animals, other plants, and other minerals in different cosmic fields. It is also animals in interface to cooperate, because our humanity will transcend the law of karma without having been able to develop and resolve how to deal in a high way with the subhuman kingdoms.
So it will be great evolutionary learning for humanity in the future to do something that it could never do with the subhuman beings, meaning animals kingdom, vegetable kingdom and the minerals kingdom. We owe a great debt to all these kingdoms. In this way, humanity's training concerning these kingdoms will be realized. In relation to food, will it change or will it remain the same as a vegetable and mineral based food, or it will be simply energy based food? What will it be?
Para nuestra humanidad futura, de atender animales en interfase, de cooperar con ellos, porque nuestra humanidad va a trascender la ley de karma.
The nourishment of the future will consist of a specific vibratory pattern of energy and a subtle substance, rather than the traditional food we consume today. Our food will come from aspects of the universal cosmic substance, like plasma, and will not be strictly derived from lower realms of existence.
So we are not going to waste time in cooking.
Nor will we waste time in ambition, in desire, in selfishness, in possessiveness. We will gain a lot of time. We need to acknowledge that we owe a great debt when it comes to our food choices, as we are still seen as predators by other species. We are perceived as wolves and are viewed as aggressive and selfish by these other species. It's essential for us to change our dietary habits. We need to actively promote vegan food as the primary food choice for all of humanity. It's fair to say that the future will be vegan if we decide to make it so.
In the new humanity, will there be pain?
Dolencias tienen que ver con el proceso evolutivo kármico. Bajo ley evolutiva superior no hay pruebas, no hay dolencias.
No, because ailments are tests, so the tests and the illnesses have to do with the karmic evolutionary process. Under higher evolutionary law, there are no tests or illnesses. We have great difficulty today understanding that a world without proofs, ailments, imbalances, disharmony and selfishness seems impossible. But what is impossible is to be able to live. What is incredible is to be able to live today with the conditions in which we live. Then there will be no ailments. Ailments are tools of the law of purification, so that we can transcend our limited and primitive states of consciousness.
How very interesting. Everything is extremely interesting. What about sexuality? What will sexuality be like in the new humanity?
Daniel says, sexuality, as we know, it is a method, it is a process that is related to the karmic civilizations. We continually associate childbearing with sexuality and reproduction with sexuality. In the universes that are under high evolutionary law, there is no sexuality. There are no sexual organs, but there are beings that assume male and female polarity, but no sexual organs. We all know that today, to reproduce, we have to unite the sexual organs. Under higher evolutionary law, beings, those who assume male and female polarity, only have to perform a ceremony of approximation of their cosmic, an exchange of fluids through the cosmic plexus, that is, the first center of the right consciousness. These beings undertake a ceremony where the flow of energies is exchanged and the feminine polarity, once the exchange of energy or fluid of energies takes place for 3 months, becomes a receptacle for a new being to manifest.
It is very important to understand that in the future humanity there is no sexual pleasure. That is to say, when it happens, when that ceremony of fluid exchanges between the plexuses is generated, there is no orgasm, there is no sexual pleasure, there is no satisfaction. It is simply an impersonal, neutral, elevated ceremony. And the beings that unite by internal indication. That is to say, the soul of those two beings is stimulating them to serve as tools for a new being to enter matter. Still, there is no pleasure, there is no free will, the beings do not enter into a marriage.
Oh, how fascinating, extremely, extremely extraordinary. We can't even imagine that kind of interaction between energy, that kind of state of energy. So, if a baby is born now and goes through the adolescent stage, will those stages disappear completely in the new humanity?
As the 3 months of adaptation to the three-dimensional field pass, the being is also aware of the process. He is absolutely conscious when he is birthed through the plexus by the feminine polarity. He communicates with those who were bridged. He does not lose consciousness when he enters matter or when the being disembodies. The being is continuously conscious, and in a very short time, the being who incarnated is immediately incorporated into the planetary society. It does not go through a period of mental weakness or immaturity. The process of adaptation and the incorporation is very rapid.
In this case, probably education won't be necessary. Probably the being will just be educated by itself because it has everything. It's consciousness. Let's make the question: does this being have to be educated at birth?
Daniel continues. The term education, as we understand, it is a karmic process of immaturity. So we understand education here on the planet as a system through which ideas are incorporated and helped to attune cultural aspects. But with higher evolutionary law, there is a stable and fluid contact between the soul and the ego does not need to go to a school or have any information passed on to it. The ego is directly in contact with the soul, and the soul is nourishing. It accompanies the evolutionary process, and the ego is fully aware of the soul's energy, and the inner consciousness of the new ego is stimulated by these 3 cycles that we spoke of a few moments ago. So it begins to be stimulated and educated through these 3 stimuli that it receives, through these 3 stages that it has to go through: the stimulation, the deepening, and the execution. In this way, this being evolves under the higher law of evolution.